आपूर्यमाणो विबुधैः पश्यतो रेः सगामुदस्तात् सलिलस्य गोचरे विन्यस्य तस्यां मदधात् स्वसत्वम् अभिष्टुतो विश्वसृजा प्रसूनैर् आपूर्यमाणो विबुधैः पश्यतो रेः सगामुदस्तात् सलिलस्य गोचरे विन्यस्य तस्यामदधात् स्वसत्वम् अभिष्टुतो विश्वसृजा प्रसूनैर् आपूर्यमाणो विबुधैः पश्यतो रेः. Please chant. Should I make it bigger?
Hare Krishna. सगामुदासात् सलिलस्य गोचरे भिन्नस्य सक्षम् अधाधात् सतस्तम् अभिस्तुतो विश्वो सृजा पुरुषनाय अपूर्वमानो विबुधात् पश्यतो अरहे. हरे कृष्ण.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी. काम उदस्तात् सलिलस्य गोचरे विन्यस्य तस्यामहदधात् स्वसत्त्वम् अभीष्टुतो विश्वसृज प्रसूनैर् आपूर्यमाणो विबुधैः पश्यतो हरे. हरे कृष्ण.
Anyone else?
हरे कृष्ण माताजी. सागम उदास्तात् चिलयस्य गोचरे विन्यस्य तस्याम् अदहत् सत्त्वम् अभीष्टुतो विश्वसृजा पुरन् शुनेर् अपूर्यमानो विबुधः पश्यतो रहे.
सगामदस्य सलिलस्य गोचरे विन्यस्य तस्याम् अदहत् स्वसत्त्वम् अभिष्टुतो विश्वासिजपासनैः अपूर्यमानो विबुधैः पश्यतो रे.
आगमुदत्तात् सलिलस्य घोरे विन्यासतस्यम् अधाहत् स्वसत्त्वम् अभीष्टुतो विश्वासर्जा प्रसूनेर अपूर्यमानो विबुध्य परसेयोरः. हरे कृष्ण.
सगामुदस्तात् सलिलस्य गोचरे विन्यस्य तस्याम् अदधात् स्वसत्त्वम् अभीष्टुतो विश्वसृजा प्रसूनैर् आपूर्यमाणो विबुधैः पश्यतो रे.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let's do word-to-word meanings. Saha, the Lord. Gam, the earth. Udastat, on the surface. Salilasya, of the water. Gochare, within his sight. Vinyasya, having placed. Tasyam, to the earth. Adadhat, he invested. Sva, his own. Sattvam, existence. Abhishtutaha, praised. Vishwasrija, by Brahma, the creator of the universe. Prasunai, by flowers. Apuryamanaha, becoming satisfied. Vibudhaihi, by the demigods. Pashyataha, while looking on. Arehe, the enemy. Translation and purport. by His divine grace. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. The Lord placed the earth within His sight on the surface of the water and transferred to her His own energy in the form of the ability to float on the water. While the enemy stood looking on, Brahma, the creator of the universe, extolled the Lord, and the other demigods rained flowers on him. Once more, the Lord placed the earth within His sight on the surface of the water and transferred to her His own energy in the form of the ability to float on the water. While the enemy stood looking on, Brahma, the creator of the universe, extolled the Lord, and the other demigods rained flowers on him. Purport. Those who are demons cannot understand how the Supreme Personality of Godhead floated the earth on water. But to devotees of the Lord, this is not a very wonderful act. Not only the earth, but many, many millions of planets are floating in the air. And this floating power is endowed upon them by the Lord. There is no other possible explanation. The materialists can explain that the planets are floating by the law of gravitation. But the law of gravitation works under the control or direction of the Supreme Lord. That is the version of Bhagavad Gita, which confirms by the Lord's statement that behind the material laws or nature's laws and behind the growth, maintenance, production, and evolution of all the planetary systems, behind everything is the Lord's direction. The Lord's activities could be appreciated only by the demigods headed by Brahma, and therefore, when they saw the uncommon prowess of the Lord in keeping the earth on the surface of the water, they showered flowers on him in appreciation of his transcendental activity. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees of ISKCON Philadelphia. My humble obeisances to all of you. Thank you all so much for joining this morning. This is such a wonderful time of the year. Gaur Purnima is coming up in some days, but before that is Lord Nityananda Prabhu's appearance day. And we just had Srila Advaita Acharya's appearance day last week. Today I think it's Varaha Dwadasi for all of you. So, lot of mercy. Actually, this whole week, disappearance day of Srila Madhvacharya, Sri Ramanujacharya, and today is Ekadasi. So many days. It's really very. Just I'm feeling grateful. But this verse, this chapter is entitled chapter 18, the battle between Lord Bor and the demon Hiranyaksha. So I think you all remember the context here is that Hiranyaksha, so after we read about the backstory, the history behind the appearance of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, then we saw how Hiranyaksha was a very, obedient brother of Hiranyakashipu, taking his mace. He traveled everywhere looking for a good fight, because we saw their bodies were so strong, so powerful, and practically they were undefeatable. They knew that. So Hiranyaksha went traveling to, he went to actually Swarga, to the heavenly planets. And, he would go stomping his feet and thundering, roaring. All the demigods, out of fear, would just hide away. So when Hiranyaksha reached Swarga, nobody was even there. The demigods were all hiding from him. So seeing that Indra and all the other demigods, nobody was there, so in other words, he conquered Swarga even without fighting. He didn't even have to fight. But still, he had this itch for fight. He was not able to get that fight. So he left Swarga because there was no opponent to fight with. Then he went down to the, he dived into the ocean, in the waters. So for many years, he stayed in the ocean, just, with his iron mace, beating the waves. And finally, he arrived in the capital city of Varunadev. Varunadev is the presiding deity of water. He is also in charge of the lower planets, Rasatala, Patala, like that. So when Hiranyaksha arrived at Varun Dev's capital city, in a very sarcastic way, he offered obeisances to Varun Dev, and it looked like he was glorifying, but actually he was insulting. He said that, oh Lord, you're so great. You have performed Rajasuya Yagya by defeating all the asuras, because he's in charge of the lower planets. So after defeating all the asuras, so you all know Rajasuya Yagya is performed just like in Mahabharata. We see Yudhishthir Maharaj performed Rajasuya Yagya. Who is eligible to perform Rajasuya Yagya? One who does not have an opponent. So before performing that, he has to ensure that nobody opposes his supremacy. So Varun Dev performed Rajasuya Yagya by defeating all the asuras. So you have performed Rajasuya Yagya, but his point is, when you performed Rajasuya Yagya, I was not there. Because Hiranyaksha appeared just now in Chakshasha Manvantara. So Varun Dev must have performed sometime in the past. So he's saying, at the time when you performed Rajasuya Yagya, I was not there. So now you have to fight me and you have to defeat me. Or you can say, the other meaning is that uh, since you are the performer of Rajasuya Yagya, you have to defeat me now. That means one reason is, in the past I was not there when you performed Rajasuya Yagya. Now I am here. So you have to defeat everyone for you to be the performer of Rajasuya Yagya, and I'm here, so fight with me. That was his point. And while saying this, he was like, he also, when he greeted Varun Dev, with one hand he was greeting. This is actually considered to be disrespectful. When you're offering respects to someone, a superior, you have to offer obeisances with both hands, not with one hand. Did you know that? So Hiranyaksha, he greeted Varun Dev with one hand, which was a sign of disrespect, and he was smiling while he was begging. He was smiling. Smiling means in an insulting way, because he knew that nobody could defeat him, and he is asking for a fight from Varun Dev. So then, uh, when he said that, Varun Dev could understand. He got very angry, actually, but controlling his anger. Why? Because he used his intelligence, Varun Dev. He understood that if I showed my anger now, it's not going to be useful. I will not be able to defeat this demon in fight. So very intelligently, Varun Dev said that I have retired from fighting. Now I'm old. I will, so I'm not going to fight with you because I have already retired. Yeah, it's true that I performed Rajasuya Yagya, but now I have retired. I have taken sannyas from fighting. Or I have grown old now. I cannot fight you. Like that. So then Hiranyaksha asks, who can, oh, you're not going to fight with me? So these are the dialogues given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So what the Acharya does is, so when you see the verses, Sanskrit verses, the Acharya puts dialogues in between those lines of the shloka, uh, to illuminate, right? To give us more detail of the pastime so that we'll understand it better. So these dialogues are given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So Hiranyaksha is saying that, oh, you're not going to fight with me? But I have this itch for fighting. Who's going to satisfy my itch? I need to fight with someone. So Varun Dev says, oh, Lord Vishnu, he is capable of fighting with you. Not only just fighting with you, he is going to lay you down on the bed of the battlefield. That means you'll fall dead. He'll kill you on the battlefield. And not only will you be, he'll make you sleep on this bed, but he will arrange for servants to serve you. Who are the servants? Jackals, dogs, and vultures. They will come and they will serve you as your servants. Kind of tit for tat. So Hiranyaksha, he was like, oh, Lord Vishnu is going to put me down on the battlefield. He's going to make me lie down on the battlefield. Ah, when will this happen? When will I see Vishnu? Varun Dev says in about 5 days, you're going to meet him. What does he look like? How will I know when I see him? What does he look like? So Varun Dev said, oh, he comes in so many different forms. How am I supposed to know in which form he's going to come to kill you? But he comes in various forms to kill demons like you. So then Hiranyaksha is thinking that Vishnu is going to kill me. We'll see whether he is going to put me down on the battlefield or I'll make him sleep. When I meet him, that will be seen. And he started going, looking for Lord Vishnu. And on the way, he meets Narad Muni. And he inquires from Narad Muni, I'm looking for Vishnu. Where can I find him? And Narad Muni said, he is in Rasatala. So one important point here, Rasatala is actually within, so you picture a disc. So the surface of the disc, so this whole disc is Bhumandala. The planet Earth is this disc. So you have 7 upper planets. So above Bhuloka, you have Bhuvarloka, then Swargaloka, then Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka, Satyaloka on top. So all these upper planets are in the atmosphere. This Bhumandala disk is floating on the ocean. Floating means it's not exactly touching. We saw just now in today's verse. Varahadev kept Bhumi Devi in the place where she's supposed to stay. But she's not exactly touching the water. How? So in the universe, half of the universe is filled with water, Garbhodaka ocean. It's 250 million yojanas deep. The Garbhodaka ocean is 250 million yojanas deep. And about 0.2 million yojanas above the surface of water is Bhumandala. So why 0.2? So 0.1 million yojanas is the height of Kurmadev. And another 0.1 million yojanas is the height of Anantasesh. So Kurmadev is on the water. On top of Kurmadev is Anantasesh. And on the hood of Anantasesh is this earth. Then where are these lower planets? Below the earth, you see we have Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala. These are the lower planets. Where are they, these lower planets? So the surface of this disk, is where, all these Jambu Dweep and all the other Dweepas are there. So the Bhumandala, as we know, and then all the different islands. The central island is Jambudweep, like that. There are 7 islands. And within Jambudweep, again, there are 9 Varshas. Ilavrita Varsha, right? Bharat Varsha, like that. And then, so this is all on the surface. And that disk, within that disk, that means in the thickness of this disk, are cavities. There are cavities. Each cavity is 10,000 yojanas wide, and one cavity is separated from the other cavity with a thickness of 5,000 yojanas. Am I making sense to you? Are you able to follow? Or should I use a drawing? But the point is, these planets, lower planets, are like cavities. So that's why if you dig the earth, if you go, you will find these various planets. They are within the earth. My point is, these lower planetary systems, they are with inside the thickness of the earth. So there is Atala planet, then another cavity is below that is Atala Vitala, then Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala. So Rasatala, Narad Muni said that the Lord, where can I find Vishnu? You can find him in Rasatala. What does that mean? Right now, at that time, the earth was not in her place, 0.2 miles, a million miles above the surface of Garbhodaka ocean. No. Now the earth went down into the water inside Garbhodaka. That means the sun where Rasatala would be. You're following? The surface of the earth, now the earth slipped down. So the surface is in the location where normally Rasatala would be. And where is Rasatala? Patala, they are all inside water now because the earth went down. So that is why when you say that, okay, we'll continue. So when Narad Muni said the Lord is in Rasatala, what should you understand? The Lord is in Rasatala means now Rasatala is in Garbhodaka ocean. That means the Lord is in Garbhodaka ocean. That's what you should understand. Then Varun Dev, when he got this news that, oh, the Lord is in Rasatala, so he went there. And what did he see there? Tadevam akarnya jalesha bhashitam mahamanastad viganaya durmadaha. Harer viditva gatimanga naradad rasatalam nirviveshe tvaranvitah. So he went there hurriedly. And what did he see when he went there? Dadarsha tatra abhijitam dharadharam. Abhijitam means one who fights. He's not fighting you from behind. Who is straightforward. Who is fighting with you in front. That is abhijitam. So the Lord is here lifting. When Hiranyaksha went to this Garbhodaka ocean, what is the scene? What did he see? He saw, first of all, the Lord who is in the form of a boar, and on his tusks, he's lifting this Bhumandala on his tusks. He's bringing out. Why Abhijitam is said? Because Hiranyaksha, remember, one more thing I have to say here. So this, we have discussed this in the past also. Bhumi Devi, this Bhumandala going into Garbhodaka ocean can happen. It happens on the first day of every month. And Varahadev comes. So why Bhumi Devi goes inside water? Due to pralaya. Pralaya means annihilation. When there is annihilation, the water level rises and Bhumi Devi goes inside water. Then Varahadev, Shweta Varaha, white Varahadev, he comes and he lifts the earth. Once again, reinstates her in her position and he goes back. This is the Lord's pastime, Shweta Varaha's pastime. But in each day of Brahmaji, there are 14 Manvantaras. In the 6th Manvantara, called Chakshusha Manvantara, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu appear. So there, Hiranyaksha, he steals the earth forcibly and hides her inside water. So that is another pastime. Yeah. So then at that time, Rakta Varaha, or you can say Tamala Varaha comes. Either you can say bluish Varaha or red Varaha. He will come and he will fight Hiranyaksha. He will kill Hiranyaksha. First of all, he will reinstate the earth in her position and then he'll go and fight and kill Hiranyaksha. This is another pastime. So here we are talking about the fight between the Lord and Hiranyaksha. So this happened in Chakshusha Manvantara, not the first Swayambhuva Manvantara, but seventh Manvantara, Chakshusha Manvantara. This pastime has happened. Of course, the context here is creation. Creation happened in the first Manvantara. Maitreya Muni is speaking to Vidura, and while speaking, he goes into such ecstasy that he just jumps, because while glorifying the Lord, he goes into ecstasy. He's not keeping track of, you know, that particular time. Rather, his focus is on the pastime of the Lord. He's so enthusiastic, right, to glorify the Lord, that he jumps from the first Manvantara to the sixth Manvantara. And now he's saying Varahadev went, and because what we saw was Manu is saying, oh, the earth is not here. Brahmadev told Manu, you create. And Manu saying, there is no earth here. So then Brahmaji thought about the Supreme Lord and Varahadev appeared. So this actually happened in the Swayambhuva Manvantara. However, when Varahadev went in, Maitreya Muni says he saw Hiranyaksha and he fought with Hiranyaksha and he killed him. That means, while describing the first Manvantara story, he jumped to the sixth Manvantara story of Raktavaraha. So while describing Shvetavaraha, he jumps to Raktavaraha's story. Huh? So anyway, so here Bhumi Devi is inside water. So Varaha Devi is lifting the earth. So this is Chakshusha Manvantara, because here Hiranyaksha saw that Varaha Devi is lifting the earth out, bringing him out. Why it is said Abhijitam? Abhijitam means he's straightforward, he fights. Whereas Hiranyaksha, he's hiding forcibly. He brought earth and he hid her inside, right? Whereas Varahadev is, lifting her out of that water, putting on her tusks. So that's why Abhijitam. Proniya Manavanim Agradamstraya. So he took her on his tusks. Mushnantam Akshna Swarucho Runa Shriya. And when this Hiranyaksha came and he saw Varahadev, Varahadev was also glancing. His eyes were reddish. And the effulgence of the Lord completely, outshone the effulgence of Hiranyaksha. And what was Hiranyaksha's reaction when he saw? He came looking for Vishnu, who's going to give him a good fight. And he sees, what does he see? He sees a boar. So he's saying, what is this? This is Vishnu. I'm supposed to fight Vanagochara. Vanagochara means an animal of the forest. Vana means forest. Gochara means one who is seen in the forest. Mrigaha. Mrigaha means animal. An animal that is seen in the forest. I'm supposed to fight with the forest. Vishnu. Vishnu is this animal. Like this. And Hiranyaksha immediately begins scolding and abusing, insulting the Lord. So his first reaction when he saw Varahadev was Vanagochara, Mrigaha, right? So one thing to note here is, in the next few verses, we see that Hiranyaksha is blaspheming the Lord. However, Saraswati Devi, goddess Saraswati, because this is Bhagavatam, so she gives alternate meanings to Hiranyaksha's blasphemy. We see this always. Later on also in the 7th canto, we see when Hiranyakashipu is using blasphemous words, Saraswati Devi, goddess Saraswati, gives alternate meaning. What is the alternate meaning? The direct meaning is blasphemy of the Lord. Alternate meaning is actually glorification of the Lord. So for everything that Hiranyaksha says, there will be two meanings. The direct meaning will be what he is actually intending to say. He is actually blaspheming. But the alternate meaning would be it is actually a glorification of the Lord. So just like here when he said Vanagochara, one who is seen in the forest, right? An animal of the forest. Mrigaha means animal. So what is Saraswati Devi's meaning? Vanagochara means one who is seen in the forest, one who is seen in the forest, or one who is seen only in the forest. He is not seen in the village. What does that mean? Who lives in the forest? Sadhus, right? Tapasvis, the spirit only seen by the transcendentalists. Who lives in villages? Those who are interested in sense gratification, they will live in villages. So such people cannot see. Those who are interested in sense gratification, he is not seen by them. He is only seen by the transcendentalists. And another meaning of Vanagochara is Varicharaha. That means one who lies in water. Who lies in water? Lord Narayan. So when Hiranyaksha said Vanagocharaha, means he's saying, O Lord, who is seen only by the transcendentalists. Like that. And then Mrigaha means animal, but Mrigaha also means one who is approached by the Munis. The Munis. One who is approached by Munis is called Mrigaha. So, like this. So then we see in the following verses, next verse, Hiranyaksha is saying, Ahaina me yagna mahim vimunchanu. And now he's saying to Varahadev, Agna. Agna means what? So this is the direct meaning. So as I said, every verse will have two meanings. Direct meaning, which is actually blasphemous, and then there will be alternate meaning given by Saraswati Devi. So the direct meaning here is Agnaha means you fool, Mahim, this earth, Vimuncha, leave this earth. Leave this earth. Naha. Why? Because it belongs to us. This earth belongs to us. Who are we? Rasaukasam. We are the inhabitants of Rasatala. Vishwasrijayam arpitaha. Vishwasrija means the creator of this universe. Who is that? He's saying Brahmaji. Arpita. He gave us this earth. It's very interesting here. He's saying Brahmaji gave us this earth. How dare you take this earth away from us? Leave the earth, because Varahadev is lifting. So he's saying, you leave the earth. How dare you take the earth from us? The creator, Brahmaji, has given us this earth. How is he saying that? Because the earth has now fallen down. I told you, the earth went inside the ocean, Garbhodaka ocean. That means the surface of the earth is now in the position where Rasatala would be. And Rasatala went inside water. But it is in the position where Rasatala would be. So he's saying, because it slipped down, that means it is ordained by the creator that the earth should now be, it's now given to us. This is something like if your neighbor has a tree, a peach tree, and the fruits fall in your house, you say, well, they fell in my house, so this is mine. It's not yours. The tree may be someone else's, but the fruits fell in my yard, so it's mine. Like that. This type of mentality is actually demoniac mentality, it is said. Like here we see. This Hiranyaksha is saying that the earth fell in Rasatala because this is ordained by Brahmaji. And what else is he saying? That na swasti yasyasi anaya mamekshataha. So while I am seeing, how dare you take it away? While I am seeing mama ikshataha, right in front of my eyes, that which belongs to us, you're taking away. Suradhama, lowest of the demigods. Sura Adhama. Adhama means lowest. Oh, lowest of the Suras. Asadita, Sukarakrite. So asadita sukarakrite means you have taken this form of a boar. O lowest of demigods, you have taken this form of a boar. So he's insulting basically. Oh, boar, like that. Oh, lowest of the demigods, you have taken the form of this boar, and how dare you take away that which belongs to us while I'm still seeing right in front of my eyes? You fool, like this. So this is his direct meaning. And then what is Goddess Saraswati's meaning for this same verse? She's saying that Agnaha, Gna means one who knows, knowledgeable. Agnaha, A means not. That means no one, there is no one who is as knowledgeable as this. Agnaha means nobody is as knowledgeable as you. In other words, Sarvagnaha, you're omniscient, you're all knowing. So that's a glorification. Agnaha. Then Mahim Vimunchana. So you give up this earth. He had said previously, right? Naha means don't take. Right? Naha. No. So earlier he said Naha means this earth is ours. Naha means ours. Another meaning of Naha is no. Right? So Mahim Vimunchana means he's saying don't give up this earth. O Sarvagnaha, O omniscient one, don't give up this earth. And we are the inhabitants of Rasatala. And here when he says Vishwasrijayam Arpita, means now Vishwasrija is not Lord Brahma in the second meaning. Vishwasrija means O creator of the universe. He is directly addressing the Lord as O creator of the universe. Uh, don't leave this earth. Take the earth with you. And why only this earth? Take all our opulences, whatever else we have. I'm offering everything to you. You please take it. Arpita, right? Vishwasrijayam Arpita. We are offering. Na swasti yasyasi anaya mamekshataha. Then the Lord may say to Hiranyaksha, why Hiranyaksha? Why I should take all your opulences? Then he's saying, mamekshataha, because you are glancing on us. Because you are glancing on us mercifully, therefore I am offering everything to you, not just the earth. You take the earth and you take all our opulences also. Then Suradhama means what? Sura Adhama. Adhama means all other demigods are lower than you. You are the best of all demigods, not the lowest of the demigod. Sura Adhama means all suras are lower than you, so you are the best of the suras. Then Asadita Sukarakrite. Then why you have taken this form of a boar? To serve your devotees. You have taken the form of this boar to serve, because here he is lifting the earth and also he is protecting the demigods. So he is rendering service to his devotees. So you have taken the form of this boar to serve your devotees. O best of the demigods. Like that. So this is the glorification. Then next he's saying, now actually we are running out of time, but the idea is, what I'm trying to say here is, I don't think I will have time to go over all the verses with both meanings. The positive and negative. I mean, the negative meaning is what Hiranyaksha is actually saying, and the positive meaning is what Goddess Saraswati is saying. Because our acharyas also, they don't like to commit any blasphemy or offense. So whenever there are such lines, they will give you know, uh, of course, here it is Goddess Saraswati giving these meanings. But even when you have to explain, for example, Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj became a deer. So there are two reasons how Bharat Maharaj, who was on the platform of Bhava Bhakti, how he fell down from that position, how he got attraction for a deer, what is the cause. So there are two reasons actually. One reason is he may still have some impressions of past offenses, because you may have Vaishnava, you may have offenses. There are different types of anarthas. One of the types of anarthas is offense. That can stay even in the stage of bhava bhakti stage also it can stay. So in the case of Bharat Maharaj, he may have had some offenses from past. Now they are giving the result because of which he fell down. He got attraction for the deer. But Bharat Maharaj is a Vaishnava. How we can say something like that to a Vaishnava? So they don't want to commit. Acharyas don't. So the way Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur will write is, some people say that maybe because he puts it on someone else. Some people say that maybe because of offense it happened. But there is alternate reason. What is the other reason? The Lord himself gives um, temporarily, he takes bhakti away from the devotee. Why? So that now he will come back with even more intensity, and that will help him rise to a higher stages of bhakti. So to give that push, right, to help the devotee, to lift the devotee higher, sometimes temporarily the Lord himself uh, gives such material attraction, or makes the devotee apparently fall down. So that happened in the case of Bharat Maharaj. So what I'm saying is, even when there is, you know, when there is some negative points to be shown, the acharyas always take the safe side. They don't want to commit any offenses. That's the point. So here also we see both meanings are given. So I'll just quickly wind up. So the next verse is saying, Tvamnaha sapatnair abhavaya kim bhrito. That means this Hiranyaksha is saying, you have along sapatni. Sapatni means enemies. Huh? Uh, Sapatni means co-wives. Co-wives are usually like, they're fighting. So for the asuras, who are their enemies? The demigods are enemies. So you have teamed up with the demigods to kill us. And for that, you have taken this form. You have taken this form to kill us. Abhavaya means to kill. For killing us, the asuras, teaming up with our enemies, the demigods. But I know your Mayaya Hanti. Your style of killing is simply by cheating. Hanti Asuran. You kill the asuras by trick. Parokshajit. Parokshajit means you don't come straight forward, like hiding behind the bush. Sometimes you come as Varaha, or in this form or that form. You don't come and fight on the battlefield directly. Parokshajit. You are always not indirectly, you kill the asuras by cheating. Tvam yoga maya balam. Right? Your strength is not real strength. Your strength is only maya balam. Your strength is in how to cheat. Alpa paurusham. Your paurusham means your, chivalry, your prowess in fighting. Alpa, it's very little. You don't have any power to fight. You simply fight by cheating, by trickery. Samsthapya moodha pramrije surit chuchaha. That means, He's saying that after killing you, O fool, Mudha, I will wipe out the grief of my kinsmen. I will kill you, and by killing you, I will wipe out the grief of my kinsmen. So, the positive meaning of this would be, he's saying Abhavaya means by killing us. So, Abhavaya means giving moksha, right? Bhava means samsara. Abhava means stopping that samsara. So, my Lord, you have taken this form only to deliver us, to liberate us from this cycle of birth and death. And Maya, another meaning of Maya, one is by illusion or trick, the other meaning of Maya is mercy. This is your extreme mercy that you have come in this form of Varaha to liberate us. And we are asuras. We are so, asuras, people living in the lower planets, and, you know, those are in lower modes, but still you are so merciful, you have come to liberate us. That means when anyone is killed by the Lord, what happens? A person who is killed by the Lord, he gets liberated. That's the rule. So you have come to kill us, that means you have come to liberate us. And parokshajit, here parokshajit means, paroksha means indirect. Paroksha means indirect. That means the demigods, you do little bit of service to the demigods and you can see the result. You get audience of the demigods very easily. With little sadhana, with little effort, you can get the results from demigods. So the demigods are aparoksha. Directly you can see them. But you do a lot of sadhana, still you cannot see the Supreme Lord. So he is indirect. Indirect means he is not visible to you directly. In spite of doing so much sadhana, you cannot see him so easily. But demigods with little bit of sadhana, you can see. Still, even though you are not seen directly, you are superior to the demigods. How? Even though you are indirect, you are not seen after a lot of sadhana, still, because of your extreme mercy, now you have come to deliver us. So you have defeated even the demigods. You are superior even to the demigods. Like this, the glorification of Hiranyaksha is glorifying. Hiranyaksha means the meaning given by Goddess Saraswati. His statements are actually glorifying Lord Varahadev. Then Tvam Yoga Maya Balam means your Balam is Achintya, Yoga Maya, right? Not that you have no power, you have only illusory power. That's what he said. But here actually Saraswati Devi is saying your power is, through Hiranyaksha, she's saying that your power is Achintya. And Alpa Paurusham means the power of Purushavataras is less compared to your power. Purushavatara means Karanodakashai Vishnu, Garbhodakashai Vishnu, Kshirodakashai Vishnu. Their power is lesser than yours. Samsthapya, and you, my Lord, such Lord, Samsthapya. Here, Mudhapra means one who nourishes even the Mudas. He's so merciful that he will nourish even the ignorant, foolish people. Huh? By destroying their ignorance, in this case, Hiranyaksha, right? By killing Hiranyaksha, he is going to deliver him. So Hiranyaksha is saying, by keeping you in my heart, who nourishes even the foolish, I will be able to wipe out the miseries of my kinsmen. So then the next verse says, Tvai samstite gadaya shirna. Okay, now the direct meaning, he's saying to Lord Varahadev that with my gada, with my mace, today I am going to Shirshnaya, I'm going to smash your head, and by that I'm going to kill you. Huh? Asmad bhujachutaya yecha tubhyam balim hara. So when I smash your head, when I smash your head with my arms, right? I'm going to smash your head. That means I'll kill you. Those who are offering, uh, service to you, who are they? like the sages and the demigods, they are like the tree and you are their root. So if I kill you, the tree becomes rootless. That means the tree will stop existing. Automatically, when I kill you, when I smash your head, automatically all these sages and demigods will also be killed. Swayam sarve na bhavishyanti amulaha. So they will also be killed. So he is trying to say that when I smash your head with my mace, when I kill you, automatically all those who depend on you, these demigods, sages, they will all be finished. They won't exist. Okay. So I won't give the other meaning, but uh, yeah. So, okay, this is the last one. So basically he's saying, so the positive meaning is that so here, Shirna, Gadaya, Shirna can also mean that my mace will not smash your head. My mace cannot smash your head. Therefore, you will not be killed. And because you cannot be killed. And because you cannot be killed, those who take shelter of you, they will never become rootless because he is the root. The Lord Varahadev, he is the root. And the tree is the demigods and sages. Because Varahadev cannot be killed, so the tree can never become rootless. That means they will never cease to exist because they are depending on you. They are always protected like that. That is the positive meaning. But you see, what he's saying is negative, right? He's blaspheming the Lord. He's using strong words against the Lord. Then what happened? Varahadev, text 6, Satudyamanori durukta tomarair. But hearing such piercing words, these words were like sharp arrows piercing the Lord. They were so harsh. And Varahadev is listening. And meanwhile, what is he doing? On his tusks, he took the Bhumi Devi, and Bhumi Devi on the tusks, she's fearful of this demon. She's feeling, bhitam, frightened. So the Lord did not respond to this Hiranyaksha's abusive words. Rather, he was busy. Todam rishan niragad ambu madhyad. So he was bearing the pain caused by the harsh speech of Hiranyaksha. How was he bearing that pain? Actually, here also, there are, since Hiranyaksha's words are having two meanings, so when he was hearing, when the Lord took the direct meaning, what was the direct meaning? He was actually abusing. So when he heard that, the Lord took the second meaning, which was actually glorification. So by taking the meaning of glorification, he was pleased. He was satisfied. However, the demigods like Brahma and all the other demigods, they were only taking the direct meaning of abuse, and they were feeling pained to hear that. Seeing the pain of Brahmaji and the demigods, Varahadev is getting pain. Okay? So he was not directly getting pain from the harsh words of Hiranyaksha. But when he saw the pain caused to Brahmaji and the other demigods by hearing Hiranyaksha's first meaning, harsh words, by hearing that, now the Lord is also getting pain. But otherwise, he's also pleased. Why is he pleased? Because when Hiranyaksha is using that abusive language, the Lord is taking the second meaning of glorification, and by hearing that, he's feeling pleased. So that's why we see here that the Lord is pleased and he's also angry. Graha hataha. That means he's hurt and he's not hurt. That again, in Sanskrit, the way how you divide the word, it can mean both. That he's hurt and he is not hurt. Like that. So, and he came out of that water, lifting the earth. And behind him is this Hiranyaksha saying all these blasphemous words. It looked like an elephant is coming out with the she elephant, and from behind is a crocodile chasing after them. That was the scene. So then, tam nisarantam salilad anudruto hiranyakesho dviradam yatha jhashaha. So, while the Lord was coming out of water, he was chased by this Hiranyaksha who had golden hair. Hiranyakeshaha, golden hair. Huh? And the Lord looked like an elephant. Dviradam means elephant. And how was Hiranyaksha? Karala Damshtra, very fierce teeth. And Shani Nishvano Bravid. Shani Nishvano means he was roaring like thunder. With his fierce teeth, he's roaring like thunder and he's speaking. What is he saying? Gata Hriyam Kim Tvasatam Vigarhitam. Gata Hriyam. That means you have no shame. Gata means gone. Hriyam means shame. Huh? Have you no shame? You shameless. So Gata Hriyam Kim. Sharam nahi hai kya? Like that in Hindi. Right? Have you no shame? तो असताम विगर्हितम, जो असताम है दैट मीन्स वन हु इज अ रेच, विगर्हितम. What can anyone say to such a person? So how can anyone even reproach a shameless person? Because no matter what you say to them, because they have no shame, they won't feel anything. You see, if somebody has some shame, you correct them, you chastise them, you point out their faults, they will feel bad. But if a person is shameless, no matter what you say or what you do, it has no effect. So that's what Hiranyaksha is saying to Varahadev. Have you no shame, you shameless wretch? There's no use of even reproaching, right? Somebody who cannot be reproached. Like that. That brings us to today's. Okay, the positive also there is there for this one. The positive meaning of this is that Gatahriyam can also mean one who has, shame. Okay, not that he's shameless, one who has shame. Asatam, sat means sadhu, a devotee. Asatam means the topmost devotee. There is no other devotee like him, topmost devotee. Huh? So, my Lord, Saraswati Devi's meaning, my Lord, you have shame and you are the topmost devotee. How can the topmost devotee who has, honor and shame, how can such a person be reproached? Right? That means he has no bad qualities to be criticized about. But still, even though they don't have any bad qualities, they tolerate the criticism, the reproach of others. Like here, Varahadev is tolerating, bearing Hiranyaksha's, abusive words. Why they tolerate? If Hiranyaksha is asking Varahadev, my lord, why are you tolerating? Viraha, right? Daya Viraha. Because we are Veera. Veera means chivalrous. In what way? In the way of giving mercy. That means even if somebody is throwing stones at them, so when the Lord is saying Daya Veera, the Lord and his devotees, they have the same quality. Even if people are throwing blasphemy at them, they only benefit the person in return. That is the quality of the Lord and his devotees. That is why. So then that brings us to today's verse. Sagam udastat. So all this while Hiranyaksha is saying all these blasphemous words, the Lord is silently doing his business. What is that business? Lifting the earth out of the water and reinstating her in her position. Sagam udastat salilasya gochare. So he placed the earth now. He came out. And he placed the earth in her position. within vicinity where he could see her. Vinyasya tasyam adadat swasatvam. Now, after placing her in that position, she may not fall down again in the water. So he invested his potency in her so that she will keep floating. Actually, she's in air. She's not on water. She's in the air. Of course, she's on the hood of Anantasesh, but she's there, the Bhumi. So the Lord invested. So here in the purport we see, Srila Prabhupada says, no, why just the earth? There are so many other planets, all the higher planets, all the planets, they are in the air. How they are able to stay there? So one who doesn't have mercy of a devotee, even after, we may think just modern scientists are trying to find, of course, that's also demoniac. Just trying to find out godlessness is the problem. Not seeing the hand of the Lord, that is godlessness. Whereas the fact is, every single atom has its quality. It's able to show its qualities because of the Lord's presence. The Lord is there as Paramatma, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Water is flowing, it's able to show its quality because the Lord is present. Same with everything else. Who is able to see this? Only devotees can see this. Those who are not devotees, they will not be able to see. They will not be able to see. Why? Because they don't have mercy. Until and unless you receive mercy. What is that mercy? That mercy is actually directly the Lord's potency, Swarupa Shakti, his internal energy. Condensed form of this internal energy is bhakti. That bhakti is there in the heart of devotees. When a conditioned soul receives that bhakti from a pure devotee in the form of mercy, then when he hears Shastra, it will make sense to him. He will be able to accept. He will be able to accept the statements of Shastra and see the Lord's hand in everything. Otherwise, we will simply say it is because of gravitation that everything, the planets are going around because of gravity. Where is that gravitation coming from? That is the Lord's energy. That's the point. So the Lord invested his potency in the earth so she will not fall down. And then what happened? When the demigods saw this, Brahmaji is there, all the demigods are there seeing the whole scene. And Brahmaji, when he saw this, they became completely satisfied. And Brahmaji started praising, glorifying, eulogizing Varahadev, extolling Varahadev. And all the other demigods started raining flowers on Varahadev for this feat, right? He picked up the earth on his tusks. He lifted on his tusks the whole Bhumandala, and then he brought and placed her in a safe place and invested his potency in her. Meanwhile, while this whole thing is happening, this Hiranyaksha Pashyato, this verse says Pashyato Arehe. Are means the enemy. The enemy Hiranyaksha is watching while he's seeing this whole thing is happening. Remember, first Hiranyaksha, when he went to Swarga, nobody even stayed. Everyone was frightened. They just hid. They ran away from there. And now, after all, a boar, right? A boar doesn't even care for Hiranyaksha. He's doing his own business. Hiranyaksha is running after him, saying so many things. He doesn't care a fig for what he's saying. What do you think is happening to Hiranyaksha? His anger is just building up. He's like ready to pounce on Varahadev. So that's what that word Pashyate means. So while this Hiranyaksha is looking right in front of his eyes and he's saying so many things, Varahadev didn't care for any of that. Although, of course, he bore the pain, but he just kept doing his thing. And this only made Hiranyaksha very angry. So that is the end of today's discussion. Just in the next few verses, we will see Varahadev will speak now. And Varahadev is now, he counters all the statements that Hiranyaksha has said. So he said Vanagochara and Mrigaha, whatever, all those words. Now Varahadev will give answers to that. And his answers also will have two meanings. So for the blasphemy, his answer will be sarcastic answer. And for the glorification, the Lord also responds in that way. He responds for the glorification, you know, appropriately, as the Lord would reciprocate with glorification. And for the blasphemy also, you know, his words, that means Varahadev's answers also will have two meanings. One is direct meaning, the other one is Goddess Saraswati's meanings. So that will go on until text 13, 12, 13. I'll stop here. Thank you all so much for patiently staying this long. Granth-raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much. I know it's very, very late. If there is like any quick burning question or something, we can take. Otherwise, I will end here. No questions. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Srila
Thank
Prabhupada ki jai.
you.
Thank you.
Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mother Krishna Bhakti. Just wanted to say we really miss you. I miss you a lot. I am at least thank you to the Zoom world that we get your darshan. But I'm really hoping you come back soon so we get to see you.
Thank you, Mataji. We'll see what happens.
Okay, Mataji. I just wanted to also just say, today is actually it's Dwadashi, but yesterday was Ekadashi, but it wasn't suitable for fasting. So today we're fasting, and we're also fasting half day for Nityanand Triyodashi and Lord Varahadev's appearance day today. So
Tomorrow is Nityananda Trayodasi,
yes, yes, but over here in calendar they say the fasting half day is for Varahadev and Nityanand Triyodashi in the and then full day Ekadashi, and then tomorrow there is no fasting because it's not suitable, is what they say.
Well, you have to break tomorrow.
Yeah,
If you fast
yeah, yeah. You have to
Ekadasi.
break your fast, so that's why they, so it's all today. So yeah, I just wanted to make just make that announcement for everyone. So so there's no fasting tomorrow.
Yes, only one fast this year.
Yes. Okay, Mother.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all devotees. Granth-raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai. Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyev cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.